possibility the 49ers wake up. So, but outside of that, I don't feel like there's anyone else. Like the Vikings, I just don't buy it. Like they're a nice team. They're going to win a lot of games. They'll flame out in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's exactly that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Like just on the fringes right now, Green Bay, I lost a lot of faith in them this week. The not showing up at home against the Lions the way that they did, that may just be a product of the Lions being that good. But they go to the outside looking in at Super Bowl contenders. The 49ers are there. Christian McCaffrey, we should be getting word here at any moment that they've opened his practice window.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that happens today. They're supposed to practice at 11:10, I believe is when their practice time is scheduled for. And he'll have to have his practice window open before that. Yeah, 11:10. So my guess is we'll get that news today. Maybe they get on a roll and get into that conversation. The Bills, I maybe Josh Allen just gets on a heater.
Okay.
And carries them because I think he's capable of doing that. I think he's that good of a player. But I don't think their supporting cast is good enough really on either side of the ball. I don't think they can go in and beat. I wouldn't feel good about them going in and beating Kansas City or Baltimore in a playoff game, and I don't think they would beat the Lions heads up in a Super Bowl. So they're just on they're probably the top of the next tier.
Yeah, there's another tier that's there, and I think it's the Bills, it's the Eagles. I want to
the Eagles too.
Yeah, I want to put the 49ers in there as well. And maybe Minnesota and
Minnesota's there for sure.
Outside of that, I don't maybe Houston, but they just really without their receivers or CJ Stroud looks human.
Yeah, and their offensive line's really bad. So yeah, Lions, Ravens, Chiefs, maybe Bills, maybe Niners, maybe Packers.
In this next tier right below.
Vikings, But again, we got to see what the trade deadline looks like. And there's still the Niners have 9 games left.
You
know, so you're sitting there with teams with 8 or 9 games left, and a lot can happen in those 8 or 9 games. But right now, as of Monday, November 4th, it is November. Monday, November 4th at 10:05 a.m. There are 3 teams that can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I said this on D'Lo and Casey on Friday, and nothing changed my mind over the weekend. I kind of think the Lions are just going to win the Super Bowl, and they might do so kind of easily. They have the feel of a 14-3 type of team.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anybody in the NFC that's hanging with them this year.
No, I don't think so either. And they have a personality. Like they really do have sort of that, the swagger of like the 85 Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have this huge personality that you can see them just continuing to roll. And I don't even think we've seen the maximized version of them yet.
Yeah, man. They run the ball. And this is why to me they're so good. And it's kind of the same thing with the Ravens, where I don't think you can shut the faucet off on one thing and go, okay, we're going to make Jared Goff beat us because he'll just do that. They have such a well-designed passing game with so many good weapons. Like Tim Patrick is a good player. He's a really, really good player.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been hurt, and he's just their 3rd or 4th option at receiver.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. So I think the Lions have so many answers. And even if their defense struggles a little bit, I feel really good about their identity. And I don't know who's stopping them.
Yep.
I think they're just so locked in offensively that they're just going to score a ton of points against everybody, and they're just going to go win the Super Bowl.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happens. And I mean, it's weird. We're talking about the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not something that you ever talk about. You don't put the Detroit Lions in this conversation ever.
But it would be, especially in Sacramento, it would be so unfair to go, well, I'm writing off the Lions because they're the Lions.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly the thing we had a problem with 2 years ago and going into last year with the Kings. Well, it's the Kings. They're just gonna, like, no, man, this is a good team, good basketball team here.
Yep.
Lions, really, really good football team.
Mm-hmm.
They're 7-1. I think they're going to run away with the number 1 seed. That's the other thing I learned. Anybody who had a number 1 seed, I think really anybody outside of maybe the Eagles and the Commanders that have their eye on the number 1 seed, forget about it.
Yeah, I think it's over.
I think three losses max is what it's going to take, and the 49ers surpass that by week 7.
Yeah, and I'd also say, like, they've beat Green Bay, they beat Minnesota. Like, who else is gonna fight them for that top
Yeah.
seed?
Yep.
You've already got wins against 2 of the other teams, and so you're distancing yourself. That number 1 seed looks locked, and so early, but it looks locked already.
Speaking of the 49ers record, here's another thing I learned in week 9. The Niners win over Dallas wasn't good. Here's what I thought about Dallas. I thought they were a little bit wayward, needed the bye week, but they'd fix some things after the bye. They had a tough game against San Francisco where they were on the road. But then they got Atlanta the next week, and okay, yeah, I think they'll right the ship, and we're going to see a better version of the Cowboys. The Cowboys stink. Dak Prescott said as much. He said, they caught on camera very clearly saying, "We effing suck." That's what he said. I couldn't agree more, Dak.
He is honest.
Like, that's just not. I thought coming out of week 8, like, man, really quality win for the Niners. That's a Dallas team that's going to be around. They might make the playoffs. I think they're going to fix some things after the bye. I think that was a really nice win. No, they just beat another bad team.
Yep.
That's the extent of it. They've beaten the 3-win Cowboys. They've beaten the 2-win Patriots. Patriots have 2 wins. They've beaten the 2-win Patriots. They beat the 4-5 Seahawks, now a sub 500 team.
Yep.
And they beat the 3-6 Jets.
Yeah, so no win against a quality opponent yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I kept referring to that win as, oh, good win. No, just beat a bad team.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, you have to beat the bad teams. That's part of part of the schedule.
For sure.
But you hope that they would actually get a win against somebody who means something.
Yeah, I thought I learned a little something about the Niners in week 8. I thought okay, this is they stood up, they beat a playoff team. No, they just beat another bad team.
Yeah.
That's all. I learned nothing about the 49ers. And frankly, week 10, they're going to go play a shorthanded Buccaneers team that's coming off a Monday night game. I don't think we're going to learn a lot then either.
Probably not.
Then they got to play Seattle at home.
Okay.
But then they get that Green Bay and Buffalo on the road back-to-back weeks.
That's where you're going to know who that team is.
Unless they just stink and they're going to go lose to Tampa Bay and lose to Seattle and they're 4-6 and those games don't matter.
Yeah.
In which case, we'll learn something a little different. But that's where the 49ers sit right now. Shifting gears to the Raiders, who got blown out by the Cincinnati Bengals. Game didn't go how I hoped it would when we did Mad Props. Gardner Minshew got benched for Desmond Ridder. After the game, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, fired. Quarterback coach Rich Scangarello, 49er legend, fired. Offensive line coach James Craig, 49ers legend, fired. All right.
Clearly, it's their fault.
All right, man. I get they needed to do something.
Okay.
Because you can't walk into work every single day and it's just awful, right? You need to do something and show like, yeah, hey, we're willing to make a change. We recognize this is bad. But dude, Antonio Pierce, the guy who you hired as your head coach to transform the culture and the vibes and all that, he hired these guys like 8 months ago.
Yeah, like, how do you just reset everything, fire everybody? Like, are they just doing a line change?
It's insane.
It's like, hey, whoever's taking the job, just so you know, you still have Gardner Minshew as your quarterback.
Yeah, or Aiden O'Connell
or Desmond Ridder. Like,
yeah,
we traded your best wide receiver.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is your wide receiver 1. Brock Bowers, really good player. He's going to be there. Your running backs, no chance.
No chance. Not good at all.
Not good. Offensive line, terrible.
Yeah.
Good luck though. Good luck. And that's what I was reading. I was reading Vic Tafer, and he made the point. Like, there was no. It might have been Tashawn Reed. I forget. One of the guys who covers the Raiders for The Athletic basically said, like, there weren't that many paths to this offense being good.
Yeah.
Especially post Devontae Adams trade. But it shouldn't have been this bad. Like, yeah, but really? Are we sure? It shouldn't have been this bad? It kind of, all the pieces are pointing to it being this bad.
Yes.
So I get firing the offensive coordinator. Okay, you get the quarterback's coach out of there. They got the offensive line coach out of there. I don't expect much to change. This is
Yeah.
just a team that is in they're in the 2017 49ers version of their rebuild, where they have a good player in Max Crosby. The Niners had DeForest Buckner. And they have a couple other nice pieces. You're going, okay, yeah, I kind of see it. But hey, they still need a quarterback. They still need top end starters at 9 positions.
Yeah, you're just wandering through the desert.
Yeah, dude. The best thing they can do, we talked about this last year. And I moved off of it a little bit because they started winning a couple games and being competitive down the stretch. And I thought that would benefit them more long term going into this year, where you're establishing that culture, right? That culture of this team's not going to quit. Yeah, our season's over, but we're going to go out and we're going to try. That's what going back to the 2017 49ers, they were 1-11. Check that. 1-10. And then Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, they play hard, they win their final 5 games, and they finish 6-10. It was like that built what became the foundation of a very good team. And it has not been that. They need to lose.
No, they need to lose. They needed to lose last year. And now everyone sees they needed to lose last year in order to get the franchise quarterback.
Yep.
And if you just keep wandering aimlessly with middle of the road to bad quarterbacks, this is what happens. And you have no franchise like the needle isn't going one way. There is no direction at all here. So I feel for him. This is, Raiders fans, you're always all in, which I never understand. Even when they pick up and move the team, he's just still always all in. But this team just has not. They don't show you any signs that they're on the right path, or that they have a strong future, or that they have any idea what they're doing at all.
Yeah.
Like, again, no running back to speak of. Their wide receiver, their wide receiver 1 is old, and they just traded their best wide receiver, and he didn't want to be there either. You have no quarterback. Your offensive line is soft, and there's so many things that you have to fix.
Yeah.
You can't just one guy's not going to be able to come in and just okay, I can fix all of this in one off season.
No, no, they are multiple off seasons away. They got to do something to start pushing the right direction though, because right now they're going backwards from an already pretty bad spot. So we'll continue to monitor what the Raiders look like with a new quarterback coach and a new offensive line coach and a new offensive coordinator. Maybe they look awesome next week, but I'm not optimistic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
That's kind of where it's at. Speaking of firings, the Saints fired head coach Dennis Allen. He went 7-10 in his first year as their head coach. Then he went 9-8 last year. He started this year 2-0. They had a plus 62 point differential through 2 weeks. They beat the hell out of the Panthers. They beat the hell out of the Cowboys. They are now 2-7 after losing to the Panthers yesterday, and they now have a minus 22 point differential.
Oh.
They started out with a plus 62, and over the last 7 weeks are a minus 84.
That's wild. Have you seen the Michael Thomas thing where he just goes off on Derek Carr all the time, on Twitter? I don't know if you've seen former Saints wide receiver.
Oh, Michael Thomas. Yes.
Yeah, Michael Thomas. Just
incredible.
Just keeps going off on
really great.
Derek Carr is horrible.
I love it.
Completely blamed him for the bad throw that got Chris Olave knocked out for a second time this season.
Speaking of which, I'm awaiting the outcry from all the people who told Tua to retire. I'm awaiting the same thing for Chris Olave.
Yeah, it's time.
5 confirmed concussions in the last 5 years.
No.
He can do what he wants. It's his life. He is more. I will do your thing, Chris Olave. I would just like the energy to be the same.
Yeah,
that's all.
I'm with you, man. It's horrible to see, and when these guys, when they start to stack up the concussions, somebody has to step in. There has to be some sort of hard rule, like, hey, you've had X amount, we have to medically retire you. There has to be. I don't know.
It's just not. No, I understand that sentiment, but it's just not up to the league to do that. What the league needs to do is ensure that players are receiving post-career health care for as long as humanly possible.
Oh, yeah.
That's that to me, because you can't tell Chris Olave, hey, you don't get to play anymore. Because then you're going to, there's already a culture in the NFL of play through injury, be that guy. You got to be out there every down and don't tell him you're hurt. Don't let him know. That culture is already so prevalent in football, and I get it. It's not going to change, right? Because it starts at the peewee level. It starts at whenever kids can have a helmet and pads on. That's when that mantra starts. And I get that it's kind of a requirement to play this gladiator type of sport that these dudes are playing. But if you start doing that, like, hey, if you have whatever the formula is, X amount of concussions in X amount of time, you're medically retired. Now you're going to get
people hiding concussions.
Correct.
Sure.
Like that's already a problem. And I know the independent neurologist is there, but I can't.
It's tough.
Get behind that.
There has to be some sort of solution because either that or, you know what, like have these guys go talk to veterans that have CTE or they clearly have CTE even though they can't diagnose it. That's part of the problem.
Okay, but let's go. Whoever the Saints interim coach is, something Rizzi, their special teams coordinator. Let's say he takes Chris Olave and says, "Hey, I'm going to have you go talk to, I don't know, Jim McMahon."
Yeah.
And you're going to sit down and chat with Jim McMahon. And Chris Olave sits down and has a great chat with Jim McMahon and goes, "Don't care. I would like to keep playing football. This is what I know how to do. This is what I love to do. Okay. And this is what I'm going to do until they have to carry me off the field in a stretcher," which they did yesterday.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to carry me off the field. Then, all right, man.
Okay.
Like, so be it.
Yeah, it's just tough.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, Saints fired Dennis Allen. The Saints stink. Shout out to Chris Olave. Hope he's all right. The Kings got a win in Atlanta over the weekend and then followed it up with a loss to Toronto in overtime. Shifting gears, by the way. James there, Kyle here. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. I don't know how to classify this one because to me it's not. I don't want to call it a bad loss because a bad loss to me is a game that you needed and you dropped it. Like if they could have clinched the playoffs, it clinched the 6th seed, and this was the last game of the year and they lost it, bad loss.
Mm-hmm.
If they were winning this game by 30 and the Raptors came back and won it, all right, that's a bad loss. They just kind of lost a game they probably should have won.
Yeah, I mean, I want to put it in the bracket of the bad losses from last season, but I can't.
How come?
I can't
because that's kind of where I put it. It's a continuation of that trend to me.
Yeah, for me, okay, so a lot of those losses last year, they weren't really all that close.
Talking
either.
Detroit,
like 7,
Chicago,
8,
Charlotte.
Yeah, man. Like, look, you played in Atlanta one night. You flew 1,000 miles to a different country, had to go through customs, didn't get in until 3 or 4 in the morning. You know, whatever. Like that to me was as much a like if they would have gone out there and just looked like horrendous, we would have gone, okay, like, look, that you just came out flat and you laid an egg. But watching them fight through and actually be in the game, but seeing some of the stats that pop out of that, like 0 for 11 from De'Aaron Fox from 3, like that's a problem. That's yeah, should he have not shot 11 threes? Of course, he should not. But there's also like, what kind of legs do you have? And if it wasn't him shooting those, who was it? Like, so I don't want to write it off as, I mean, they lost in overtime on the second night of a back-to-back with 1,000 miles of travel and customs and everything else. So yes, it's not a good loss. And you really wish that they would be 3-0 on the trip. They'd have a 4-game win streak right now, and they're heading into Miami with, a bunch of momentum. But at the same time, you look at this, we'll fast forward a couple of days. Sure. They're going to play Toronto again, and I expect them to look like a different team.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I fully understand the travel and the back-to-backs and all that jazz. But this is a team that started RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Davion Mitchell, Oshai Abaji, and Jakob Poeltl. Chris Boucher coming off the bench, Jonathan Mogbo coming off the bench, Jamison Battle, who is a person I had never heard of prior to Saturday.
That's true.
Jamal Sheed and Jacoby Walter, the rookie. Frequently mocked to the Kings, Jacoby Walter.
Oh.
That's just like, I understand what you're saying. Yep. And I understand where you're coming from. And I understand that logically, yeah, that's probably right. They go win in Miami tonight, a 3-1 road trip. You'll take it. Come home, you play the Raptors, you get right against them. All of a sudden, you're 4-1 in your last 5. Everything's good. I just went in with the expectation that, dude, I don't care about the travel. I don't care about the back-to-back. This is a bad Raptors team without their best player. Go win this one.
This was the one you circled that they would win.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Atlanta isn't good, but you thought, okay, well, Atlanta could get hot and beat you.
Sure.
And then you go up against Toronto. You're like, okay, that's of all of the teams on this trip, that's the bad team that you should beat. You know, that Utah and Toronto, I'm putting in the same boat here. But I don't know. There are reasons why you lose games like this.
Sure.
And, like, I would like to say that it's 100% on, you know, whatever. Like, what did they started Doug McDermott in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that, like, not having Kevin Huerter, but again, they don't have Scotty Barnes. Like, there are too many pieces to this that I just don't want to. I don't want to overanalyze a tough, like, 3-point loss, right?
Sure. And that's what I guess that's kind of the push and pull here, because is the season over? Are they bad now? No. But also, like, 10 of 40 from 3. And you've got the Raptors shooting, what did they shoot? 17 of 37 from 3.
Yeah. 10 of 40 from 3 is legs.
That's then do something different.
No, I agree. I agree.
Go. The 0 for 11 from De'Aaron, just kind of zooming out. Since the All-Star break last year, De'Aaron Fox, who shot, what, 36% from 3 for the season?
37 last year.
37%. Since the All-Star break last year, after the 0 for 11, he's now 11 for 41 this season. Since the All-Star break last year, 34.1% from 3.
Okay.
That's a decent little sample.
Yep.
And it speaks to, and prior to last season, he was a career 32.1% three-point shooter. One of my concerns about the Kings offense going into this year was that regression from De'Aaron from 3, where, because if he's shooting 36, 37, 38%, that just adds a little bit of a different element, and teams aren't going to live with a De'Aaron Fox three-pointer. If he's shooting 33%, teams are going to live with that shot. And I think finding, if that is indeed the case, because again, we're not talking about the sample of this year, we're talking about since the All-Star break last year, of shooting 34%. I don't think that's going to cut it. And I'm interested to see how, if he just turns it around and he's actually a 38%, 37% three-point shooter now, and he has a hot streak here where he shoots 65% across 3 or 4 games, but how he adapts to that if there is a regression coming from him from 3. If it turns into, I'm just going to keep throwing shots at the rim and going 0 for 11, which is the most threes a Kings player has ever missed in a game without a make.
0 for 11?
0 for 11.
Yeah, I mean, he was like in Blanton territory.
Yeah, well,
0 for 15.
I could have put him in Delano Banton territory.
Here would be my point. Okay, so look, we're talking about small sample sizes, right? It's really tough to gauge anything from 6 games. And I would tell you, De'Aaron Fox is now shooting 26.8% from 3. Before Saturday's game, he was shooting 36.7% from 3. He went 0 for 11. It tanked his entire, his numbers completely. I would like to see, like, what'd you say? It was 34.4%, right?
34.1 since the All-Star break last year.
And what's that on? Do you have the numbers?
246 attempts.
246 attempts.
And I don't have the number of games.
And you don't have the number of makes?
84.
Okay, so 84, and you said 200 and how many?
246.
So let's go 235. Yeah, he's shooting 35.7% without that 0 for 11. And that's why one game can matter in a weird way, but that's where I like don't want to jump on board on the, okay, this is a horrible thing. And like, yeah, De'Aaron Fox, number 1, shouldn't go 0 for 11 and ever.
I say 0 for 11 is horrible.
It's horrible.
It doesn't need to mean,
it doesn't change anything. It's horrible, like picture. Straight up.
Yeah,
but the fact is, I don't think he'll go 0 for 11 again. And I also think, if you look at the game before, didn't he go like something like 4 for 6 or something?
Yeah, he'd had 4 for 6 and a 3 for 8 or something in there.
Yeah. So look, do they have to be better? Yeah, but like Trey Lyles is out there shooting 20% from the field. Like, it's like he's shooting 25% from the field and 23.8% from 3. Like, that's just not who Trey Lyles is as a player. We know that that's not who he is as a player. We've seen him throughout the last 2.5 years, and that's not who he is.
All right. We got more on the Kings game this weekend. We've got a Kings game tonight in Miami. A little more urgency now following the loss for Sacramento in Toronto. We'll talk about tonight's game. We'll talk about this weekend. We'll get into more NFL action. Plenty coming up on the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We'll be back in a second.
Oh.
We are clear, by the way.
Sweet.
Live is next.
Okay, so Torrance, all of this is just ridiculous take. Just
I love a ridiculous take.
We're having a conversation about it, and like the Kings lost. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, making it seem like they didn't lose. But Kyle's take is completely reasonable. And Spencer, I totally agree with this, that Lyles is unplayable. But the only way the Kings become good and sustainably good is if he is good, if he is playable. And the only way to get him there is to play him. And it's a really, really tough situation. But you're talking about a guy who missed 5 or 6 weeks with a groin pull leading up to the season. And you do not have another player like him. And you don't have another player that you can rely on that can play 18 to 20 minutes a night and play the 4 and the 5. And so you need Trey Lyles to be better, but you also have to understand that Trey Lyles is going to take a little while to get into playing shape, and you're just going to have to take it on the chin. You are.
I don't typically give people like Torrance oxygen, but I'm going to just a couple of things here. One, you have to understand that there's a element of doing a radio show that involves having a conversation, and it involves presenting multiple sides of a thing. The other aspect of this is I'm not going to sit here and fucking baby the Kings. This is supposed to be a good team. If you're looking for like, oh no, it's okay, everything's good there, everything is totally fine all the time, this is great, like, you're not going to get it, dog. This is supposed to be a fucking playoff team.
Yeah, they're 3-3.
Having expectations should not be a bad thing. Like I said it at the top there. This is not they suck now. This is not everything is terrible now. It's, hey, here's a game to talk about, and we're going to talk about what happened in that game. We have 2 hours to fill. It would be pretty shitty if we were like, well, they lost, doesn't matter. Anyways, moving on. Everything was awesome, actually. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
And everything's awesome. They're actually 6-0. It's great. Everything's perfect. I think they're going to win tonight, for what it's worth.
There it is. Yeah, it requires balance. That's all. And like, look, I get, like, I wrote about Trey Lyles this weekend. Like, the Trey Lyles numbers are so horrible. But at the same time,
you said it. It's all small sample size
it's
stuff.
6 games.
It's reacting to what you're doing analysis of what has happened.
Yes.
What has happened? Hey, you know what? De'Aaron's not shooting it well from 3. Trey Lyles isn't shooting it well at all. That's part of the reason they're 3-3.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll look at the next 6 games.
We can't, Kyle. What we can't do is we can't just talk about how good the starting lineup is, like plus minus.
It's awesome.
It's amazing, and how good the closing lineup is. It's absolutely off the charts. Yeah. Great. The closing lineup is actually the number 1 5-man lineup in the NBA, and it's not even close.
Man.
In the NBA, right? But we can't talk about that and then ignore the fact that you have all these other holes, like in the middle. Like if their opening lineup, their closing lineup are as good as they are, the Kings should be 5-1. They should be 6-0. They should be 4-2. They're not. They're 3-3 because other things are happening that's making it not all work.
Yeah, and they might. And I mean, they could win tonight and win their next game and go on a 8-game winning streak.
Yep. And hey, look, straight up, like De'Aaron Fox has to be better. 0 for 11 isn't okay.
Yeah, man.
0 for 11 from 3 isn't okay.
He has to be better is not saying, hey, he won't be better.
Yeah.
And I talked about the 3-point regression thing going into this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not the end of the world, man.
You lose by 3.
He's probably gone by now. He probably left a long time ago.
Yeah, you lose your 3. I mean, you lose by 3 points, and your star your star point guard went 0 for 11 from 3.
I don't anticipate him going 0 for 11 again.
Well, that and you're a veteran. Oh, right.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James Ham there. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Let's take a look at the Kings matchup against the Miami Heat tonight. Sacramento comes in 3-3 against the number 3 seed in the East, the Miami Heat, at 3-2. Watch out, everybody.
The 3rd seed. 5 teams in the Eastern Conference with a 500 or better record.
And how many is it in the West?
11.
11?
11.
The Kings, they've lost 3 straight against the Heat. They've lost 5 in a row in Miami. Look, again, we were talking about this a little bit a while ago, but tonight doesn't make or break their season. They could lose by 50 tonight and still win 51 games, which is how many games I think they're going to win. But to me, there's a little bit of an uptick in urgency now after losing to Toronto, because I was of the mind that they were going to beat Toronto and they were going to go into this game going, okay, you're playing for 4-0, which is a really nice luxury on any 4-game road trip. You go 4-0, I don't care if it's the 4 worst teams in the league. Any 4-0 road trip is incredible. But it's like, okay, but also if you lose this one in Miami, Miami's a gritty team, your last game of a road trip, you lose it to go 3-1. Okay, not the end of the world. You get Toronto coming back home on Wednesday. It's fine. But now you're sitting at a 2-1 road trip.
Yeah.
And now you're going, man, this road trip where you were hoping for 4-0, but you would take 3-1. Now you're up against a split if you go lose this one, and falling below 500 after 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that this doesn't mean the sky is falling. And like if you do drop to 2-2 on the trip, it's just one of those moments where you can say, okay, that was an opportunity lost. Now we could get to February and the Miami Heat could be like 42 and something, and they're rolling and they're the 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they do still have star power. They have all kinds of players. They're getting more players back tonight that were missing.
They have the best coach in the league.
They have the best coach in the league. I think, I don't even know how close it is, but Eric Spoelstra is an absolutely wonderful coach and a franchise setter. Like like he has developed what's happening there, and he's been great for years, right? But this is an opportunity. The Kings still should look at this. Like, you don't often go into Miami against a team that's completely beatable. And I think they are beatable. And, you know, if you want to be the team that you're going to be, you know, you do need to go back above 500 here. You need to get on a little bit of a roll. I think, you know, again, if they would have won on Saturday, we'd be looking at, they'd be on a 4-game win streak, looking for their 5th straight win, with Toronto staring you at in the face where you could get number 6. And all of a sudden you're cooking and you're skying up to the top of the Western Conference, you know, standings. So this is it's a big game. It's not, I mean, it's 1 of 82, but it at the end of the day, it won't have all that much significance, but it's still, for the current momentum and who you are right now, it's a big game.
Here's where I land with the Kings, just kind of overall through 6 games. 51-31 was my preseason prediction. Nothing has moved me off of that in either direction. This is the kind of game where if they lose, I won't move off of it. But if you go in and just kind of handle business against Miami and just control the game, a little bit like the Atlanta game.
Yeah.
Atlanta, they didn't blow them out, but there was never really a point against the Hawks where it felt like, oh no, they don't have control of the game.
Yeah.
They got to bounce back. They got to figure this out. They got to get this back on track. It got close a couple of times, for sure. But I didn't ever think that Atlanta was going to win.
You know why I don't think any of us felt that way?
Because Atlanta's not very good?
Well, because the only way that they were in the game is Garrison Matthews just kept hitting threes.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
Had never heard of that person before Friday.
he got a flagrant 2 against the Kings a year or two ago. I remember a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2.
Okay.
And so he had like a dirty play when he was with Houston. So yeah, I knew who he was, but at the same time, you're like, okay, this isn't sustainable. Like, first of all, they're not going to leave Garrison Matthews out there for like 32 minutes and have him just keep shooting. I don't know how many minutes he played, but you're like, if that's the only guy that's busting you up, and like we've seen this forever, like there are bona fide Kings killers out there.
Mm-hmm.
If Garrison Matthews is going to be the guy that crushes you, chances are you're still going to have a chance to come back and win that game. The fact that he played 30 minutes, I don't know what his career, like most minutes played in a game is, but I'm going to guess that, it's one of his highest minutes played.
He played 30 minutes, and that was 6 more minutes than he'd played in any of their previous 3 games.
Yeah.
You're right. It was Garrison Matthews. It was their bench in general.
Mm-hmm.
I just had the math up real quick. Let me do some more quick math. 13 of 28 from 3 their bench went, including 7 of 13 for Garrison Matthews.
Their bench did that.
Their bench.
And they only made 17 threes?
19.
Okay, so their starters hit 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Their bench went 13 of 28 from 3. The Kings went 11 of 33 as a team.
Yeah.
And they still won by 8. So this is all to say, I think if the Kings go in tonight and beat Miami in that kind of way, where they control the game, they win it by 8, but it never felt like it was going to get out of hand or like they were going to lose. At least it didn't to me. Maybe to somebody else it did. It did not to me. I would feel really, really good about them moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm not going to move off of 51. I feel like I think 51's a great number. But it would put them on track to potentially, like you said, you go win another 4 or 5 in a row. And now you're cooking with gas, because that means you're beating some good teams in there. So this could start a really strong stretch for them if they can go into Miami and get the win. I also don't think I'm kind of out on Miami.
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
At the same time, you have to take them seriously. I think the culture thing is overblown. I think it's kind of a joke at this point.
Okay.
Because
I still see that they have cultural pieces that for them have historically been like really, really good, and they keep finding guys like Jaime Jaquez is a Heat culture guy. Like he's that type of player, and he's not the only one. I think they find players, they create players,
mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it's like, can you sustain? And they've been good for a long time.
Yeah, right. And that's why you have to take them serious. I don't think Miami's ever going to be terrible, but if you told me they weren't a top 6 team in the East at the end of the year, I wouldn't be shocked.
I would be surprised if they weren't.
Who scares you legitimately as an offensive player on the Heat?
I mean, if Jimmy Butler gets cooking, but even that, like I think
he's shooting 12.5% from 3 this year.
Yeah, you got Keegan Murray that I think can defend him well. I don't love Tyler Hero as a player. Again,
he's fine.
Jaquez is a hustle dude who will get under everyone's skin, and at the end of the game, you'll think to yourself, man, I really wish the Kings had a Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's their whole team.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to go take it seriously. The Kings are to me, a more talented team. The Heat are very well coached. Bam Adebayo is a great player. Tyler Hero can shoot it with the best of them.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler, obviously, especially in the postseason, is a legend. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But there's nobody on their team that I look at and go, man, hey, that guy might give you 40.
No,
like even if Trey, we talked about Trae Young before the Hawks game. Like, man, hey, Trae Young go get 30 and 15.
Yeah,
like that could swing.
The problem is they have a weird collection of Kings killers as well. Terry Rozier has busted up the Kings a couple of times.
They got Alec Burks shooting like 72% from 3.
72.7, but Alec Burks has torched the Kings multiple times in his career.
Ridiculous.
And Josh Richardson is beat up on the Kings as well. So they got some Kings killers.
De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. Sounds like Kevin Huerter, he left shoot around early, according to Chris Biederman and the Sacramento Bee, with an illness.
Yeah, he struggled. He missed, of course, the game on Saturday with an illness, and it sounds like he's still not 100%, but they still have a handful of hours here to get him right, and you just never know. I mean, this is pro sports. They'll have him pumped full of the best medicine known to man.
Do you think it's Doug McDermott in the starting lineup again if Herter can't go?
There's a possibility of that.
Keon?
I think there's a possibility. I think there's also a possibility Mike goes with someone else and just moves his rotation around. What if he were to like insert Trey Lyles in the starting lineup
I would love to see what that looks like.
and move DeMar DeRozan to the 2?
Yeah.
Like there's all kinds of possibilities here. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Mike is willing to move that, be like sort of flexible with that position.
For the Heat, it's Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. Orlando Robinson, as we move to the injury report, Orlando Robinson out for the Kings. Devin Carter also out. Kevin Herter, we just mentioned, is questionable. Nobody hurt for the Kings. Kevin Love is back. Duncan Robinson is back. What's your matchup to watch? I
think it's Domas and Bam. Yeah. I love watching this matchup.
Yep. Yeah. Two very, very good players at their positions going at it. That'll be a ton of fun. Keegan versus Jaime Jaquez or Jimmy Butler, wherever he's going to be.
Yeah.
I would really like to see him go up against those two guys and see if he can shut the faucet off a little bit for the Miami offense.
Yeah, I even think if Tyler Hero gets hot, you could see Keegan shift over there and play him too.
Yeah. And that's one of the advantages of having a defender that versatile. And one of the issues to me with the Heat's lineup is the fact that you can feel pretty comfortable about taking Keegan Murray off whoever and putting him on whoever's hot because, not really super worried about anybody else.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll have Keys to Victory coming up here in a bit. That's James Ham and Kyle Madsen, and we are sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Still no announcement on Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
At least that I've seen.
We do have some breaking Sacramento news.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if people are going to love this one.
Oh no.
The Sacramento Republic FC and Mark Briggs have mutually agreed to part ways after the conclusion of the 2024 season. We thank Mark for his time at the club and wish him and his family the best in their next chapter. Mark Briggs has been absolutely spectacular for the Sacramento Republic.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
Absolutely spectacular. So good luck to him and his family. I don't know where he's heading, but absolutely wonderful coach. It's a big loss for the Sac Republic.
Yeah, finding his replacement not going to be super easy. He did a heck of a job. And once they find a replacement, we'll have that for you right here on ESPN 1320.
There you go.
All right. We'll get back to the Kings here in a little bit. Actually, you know what? Here, let's move to this real quick. Chris Biederman with the Sacramento Bee, traveling with the team, friend of the program. Had some notes from shoot around today that I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
So he noted that Isaac Jones, Keon Ellis, and Colby Jones were in black jerseys.
Okay.
Which is what the starters wear. Kevin Herter left early, like we mentioned, with that illness. Mason Jones is back with the team.
Okay.
And Devin Carter's out there shooting in a non-contact jersey. Do you make anything of Isaac Jones, Colby Jones, and Keon Ellis wearing black jerseys during shoot around?
No, I mean, maybe if anything, it could just be a little gamesmanship here with not knowing who would start for the Kings. Like, look, I think Mike Brown has proven over the course of the last couple of years that when a player in his starting lineup goes down, he doesn't just slide in the backup into the position. So we're not seeing that Malik Monk is going to start, and Malik Monk has not started for the Kings, and they haven't opened that door. And so when you see a situation where Kevin Herter goes out, everyone thought, oh, well, that means Keon Ellis is going to start. But instead he goes to Doug McDermott. And to me, that is a very logical thing for a coach to do, because right now what Mike's trying to do is he's trying to build that second unit, which has struggled. Second unit has not held up all that well against opposing second units. It's also because the Kings stagger pretty heavily. So, again, Malik Monk and Keon Ellis coming together at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Herter go to the bench, and then they start. So those guys are playing with the starters. But I bring this up because, look, there's a possibility that someone's going to start at the 2 that is unexpected. And whoever that is, just know that they're probably going to play 6 or 7 minutes. And then we might not see them a whole lot the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Doug McDermott did the other night. And I understand why he put Doug McDermott in. I mean, basically, he runs around and does the same thing Kevin Herter does. I don't see a reason why anyone would be shocked by that. It's just, there's so many people that are clamoring for Keon Ellis to start, and that's died down a little bit because Kevin Huerter's played really well.
Mm-hmm.
But if Kevin Huerter can't go, there is like a way in which Mike would just fill that spot and try to keep that second unit together and continue to grow.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think the smarter move is here. Because we talked about with Keon early in the year, he had that weird first game and then didn't play in game 2.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit unsure of what his role is. And now he's locked back in and is playing really well. Looks like he did at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And I think messing with that isn't the move at this point. Because like you said, Doug McDermott started, he played 15 minutes.
Yeah, and the better that Keon plays, the more minutes he gets.
Yeah.
And so you're incentivizing him to play well and to find his way in that second unit. And look, if you're going to put him at the starting shooting guard position, everyone knows that Malik Monk is going to come in and play that spot too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not 30-something minutes at that shooting guard spot.
Nope.
Whether you're splitting time with Kevin Huerter, you're splitting time with Malik Monk, whoever you're splitting time with.
Too many options.
Yeah, there are options.
I love the idea of starting Trey Lyles. Like ever since, so was it Kevin O'Constantinople or his podcast guest that said Trey Lyles should start over DeMar DeRozan?
Oh yeah.
And we kind of joked about that, but it was like, hey, what if Trey Lyles were to start? What would that look like?
Yeah.
And it was Fox at the 1, DeMar at the 2, Keegan at the 3, Lyles at the 4, and Domas at the 5. I just am interested to see what that looks like. And I don't hate it going up against this Miami team that's not like full of super dynamic perimeter playmakers. It might be a problem for Trey.
Yeah, my biggest concern is that if you're going to do that, like who defends Tyler Hero? And so what that does do is it makes you put DeMar DeRozan on Jimmy Butler without any question. That's who would have to guard him.
I'm fine with that.
And Keegan Murray's going to have to shift out and defend Tyler Hero.
Feel great about it.
Okay. And if like I think that there is a way that it works and it gives the Kings a bigger lineup, but you really need Trey to start hitting his shots. And whatever you have to do to get Trey Lyles going is what you need to do.
And maybe it's playing him with this starting unit. It's the best starting 5 in the league, right?
Yeah.
So get him out there, get him some open shots, see if he can start knocking some down.
Yeah, and like, look, I think people need to understand, like, Trey Lyles is so frustrated with this whole situation.
I'm sure.
I mean, he ripped his jersey in half after one game, during one game.
Who among us?
Because he said it was too small, but it was clearly like the frustration level. Yeah. He's like getting frustrated, and he's used to being a quality player, and when you're shooting 25% from the field and 23.8% from 3. Like you feel like you're hurting the team, and you're and to be honest, there have been games where he has, and so you're still waiting for this moment. But I'd also look what Mike Brown's doing. Instead of benching Trey Lyles or going away from Trey Lyles, he's actually just given Trey Lyles all of Alex Len's minutes as well.
Yeah,
Alex Len's minutes. He's basically having him shift to like a small ball 5. He knows that that's a really, really good position for Trey because it hurts other teams. They have to go space the floor, and they've got to chase him on the perimeter. But you're trying to put him in positions to succeed and hoping that the light bulb goes on and the shots start falling. And as soon as they do, he'll be the first one to run around and hug everybody, and everyone will embrace him too. Like everyone's waiting for it.
And I think he will. He's too good of a player to shoot 23% from 3 for a season.
Yeah.
Like at some point he's going to find it.
Yeah.
That's why I'd advocate starting him. Get him some minutes with the starter. See if he can get him some open looks that he knocks down. Because once he sees a couple of go through, I think he's going to be fine. But they don't have. Here's why this is so urgent. They don't have any other options.
No.
You need Trey Lyles to figure it out.
In order to be a good team, the only way to get to be a good team is for you to have 8 or 9 really good rotational pieces.
Yes.
Trey Lyles is one of those rotational pieces.
Yes.
Right now, he's like your 7th best player.
And he does so many things that they just can't replicate with his ability to shoot it, with his just kind of ruggedness on the boards. He's not like an elite rebounder, but he's a very good rebounder.
Yeah.
He'll take a charge. Like he just does a lot of the little things that at 6'9", they don't have a lot of guys who A, at that size period, but B, who are capable of doing the things he's doing. Maybe Isaac Jones gets there someday, but he's not there now.
No.
So,
and I'd point out too, if Isaac Jones can get there, There's no reason Isaac Jones and Trey Lyles can't play side by side.
1000%.
You're just waiting for Isaac Jones to get enough experience. And look, the Kings have brought him on the trip. So we talk about who, they didn't bring Crawford on the trip. They sent for Mason Jones, but clearly that's in case Kevin Huerter can't go, and they feel like they need more depth. But like, there's a process here to getting a player ready to play, and so I don't think that Isaac Jones is there yet, but you're getting closer and closer. And if you go up against a team that doesn't have legitimate power forwards, like even Nikola Jovic, maybe Isaac Jones can go out there and give you some energy against him at the 4. Like, you're waiting for these things to, like, can you get somebody up to speed?
That's my second favorite option behind Trey Lyles starting, is Isaac Jones starting.
There it is.
Mike just like, yeah, go get it, kid.
Chaos.
Go play against Miami. You'll enjoy it. A little bit of breaking NFL news. Dak Prescott, who left yesterday's game against the Falcons with a hamstring injury, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, or actually, excuse me, Ian Rappaport had this first from NFL Media. He is the hamstring injury was initially worse than feared. He is expected to miss multiple weeks. It's not looking like a short-term injury. Yikes. Adam Schefter called it, quote, several weeks. He's seeking a second opinion to confirm treatment options. Yikes. We're already out on Dallas. Now I'm super out.
Yeah, I'm really bummed that CeeDee Lamb is my best receiver.
Well, hey, I've got some good news for you fantasy football CeeDee Lamb coaches. CeeDee Lamb in weeks 2 through 6, this is according to Field Yates of ESPN, when Cooper Rush filled in for Dak Prescott. 7 catches for 75 yards, 8 for 87 and a touchdown, 6 for 97 and a touchdown, 5 for 53 and 5 for 68. That's a really strong 5-game stretch.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I think CeeDee Lamb fantasy coaches should feel great.
All right.
Hey, want to remind everybody real quick, still no announcement on Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to feel real dumb if they don't open his practice window today. That's sure what it sounded like. And if they don't, it means he probably had some kind of setback. Because Kyle Shanahan said they were going to ramp up during the bye week. The team wasn't going to be there to practice, but Christian McCaffrey was going to go through simulated practices with the expectation that his practice window would be opened for Monday's bonus practice. That's today. Is what they did with Ricky Pearsall ahead of week 7, because you get a bonus practice when you play Thursday. They opened Pearsall's practice window for the Monday. He practiced Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and was active for week 7. I think that's what the Niners are hoping to do with Christian McCaffrey, but we are 15 minutes from their practice starting and still no announcement. They might do it right when practice starts. Just holding it out as long as possible for Todd Bowles and Tampa Bay to have to decide whether they're game planning for Christian McCaffrey or not. But still no announcement there. Want to remind everybody as well, speaking of Mondays, next Monday, November 11th, it's Veterans Day. Hang on. Email? Nope. It's not the Christian McCaffrey. Next Monday, Veterans Day, we're going to be working. We're doing a live show at Sky River.
Okay.
We're going to be hanging out down at Sky River. It'll be me and James from 10 to noon. Then D'Lo and KC will be there from noon to 4. And then there's a Kings game at 5. I don't know if anybody else is planning on hanging out. I'll probably be hanging out. But get down there, enjoy the live show. Good food at 32 Brew Street. It's a gastro pub right there inside Sky River Casino. You can't miss it. Good food, good drinks. I got a tour of Sky River yesterday. I went to SR Prime for brunch. I had never done like a proper brunch before. Unbelievable.
You've never done a proper brunch?
No.
Ever?
No, I've been to places like I've had breakfast at 11 a.m.
Okay.
But I've never gone to like a brunch spot. I want to get this right. They, first of all, they have a Bloody Mary cart.
Oh, yeah.
Where they roll out a cart. It's like tableside guac, but a Bloody Mary. And you can just customize it as you go. You get that salt rim, get the tahini rim, and then they have Keep 'em Coming Bloody Marys where you can just keep ordering them.
Oh yeah.
They have mimosas on the same deal. They have this smoked seafood charcuterie board that they brought out 2 of them for, I think there were 2 for 7 of us. That could have fed everybody at the table.
Oof.
The 2 charcuterie boards. It looked incredible. There's this like garlic aioli on it. The shrimp was really good. I had the steak frites, steak and fries.
Yeah, I love steak frites.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's the best. I had it. It was filet mignon, not to brag. It's the best steak I've ever had.
Ooh,
little char on the outside, but like melt in your mouth.
sounds
Delicious.
Why don't I
Pork
get
belly-
invited to these things?
Pork
Kyle?
belly eggs Benedict.
Oh, see, I'm a Benny guy.
So my wife had. It was outstanding. They had these souffle style pancakes, these really thick pancakes,
Oh.
just like lemon ricotta, and I think it was a blackberry jam with
All of this sounds really fancy.
it was unreal.
Yeah.
It was one of those things like I'm going again.
Okay.
Like I will be going again. That's our prime out at Sky River. And Sky River is where James and I will be on Monday. We will see you there. 10 a.m. The show starts. Live show. We're gonna have a great time. Should be a party. Hope to see you all out there. All right, second hour coming up. We got more Kings to get to. We'll talk about tonight's game against the Heat. We'll have Kings to victory and why Week 9 couldn't have gone much worse for the 49ers. That's coming up next right here on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Center.
What's going on, everybody? Oh, hit mute for 1 sec.
This is Kyle Madsen and James Ham with Jiffy Lube. It's that time of year again, folks. Holiday shopping and driving with family and friends. I don't know about you. I'm a in-person shopper. I'm going to be moving this holiday season, and Jiffy Lube is your holiday driving headquarters with fast oil changes, wiper blades, light bulbs, and many more services.
That's right. Jiffy Lube is thankful for all their customers serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. They're open early every single day, Monday through Saturday. They open at 7:30. Good stuff, Kyle.
Yeah, so get ready for the holiday driving season. Visit jiffylube.com to find a location near you and valuable oil change coupons. Don't find out on the way to your holidays that you needed to hit Jiffy Lube.
That's right.
Take care of that before you start doing your holiday travel. You'll thank us later. Again, you can find a location near you and valuable oil change coupons at jiffylube.com.
Hello, everybody.
I hope somebody says something to me about that. Man, if we had a producer, it wouldn't happen. I gotta go into the vault here for a second.
Sweet. Send a love your way, Scooter. Whatever your tough morning is.
Shout out to you, Scooter.
Sacktown Tony. Kings can't pull up Scal. Well, they can't pull up Scal, but they do have a roster spot. But they can't just pull him up. They'd have to actually sign him. Jameson. I'm not going to spend $26 million next season on John Collins. Sorry. Tyler Hero can be a bucket. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just.
Where did that go? Look, trickster, they didn't miss any major play. You're right over there, Kyle.
Oh, I am more than all right. I'm so goddamn good at this.
You fixed it in post?
No, I just I forgot to take note of the time when we started our last segment, and I needed to time it out a certain way, so I just kind of did it off the dome.
Yeah.
And nailed it.
Sweet. What do we have, Jesse, today?
I hope so. In fact, thanks for the reminder. I'm going to text him and Damien and Kenny.
How much time do we have?
We have about a minute.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Okay, good luck. Good move. Heads up. Good defense. Good defense. One of my all-time favorite movie scenes is in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, when, oh my God, that was all on air. I'm bad at this, guys. I'm so bad at this. Hour number two, I'll learn how to do a radio show someday. Hope anybody listening on the radio enjoyed our conversation during the break.
I don't even know what we said. I know we.
I was talking about how awesome I am at my job. That's definitely something that was happening. It's fine.
Yeah.
Perils of doing this job when I'm doing 3 people's jobs.
That's right.
2.5. It's fine. I don't need this. Get this out of my face. I'm so angry.
It happens.
It doesn't, though. Like, it shouldn't. Oh, I'm so good at this. That's me. That's me. That's what I sound like. I'm so freaking good at this. What a jerk. What a dunce.
It's funny. During the break, we did talk about, I believe I saw, since everyone heard it on the air, I believe I saw Fred Warner in Truckee this weekend. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't. But, yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. I didn't go up and, like, approach him and say
that's
trash about your team on the radio all the time.
You guys are very good. Aren't you guys better?
Where are you 4-4?
It's fine.
Everything's
fine. Come to our live show.
That's right. It'll be
where
where
I won't have to control what's on air and what's not.
It'll be just like what just happened, Kyle.
It'll be just like that.
The same.
You get to hear me be ridiculous at the breaks. Sacramento Kings play the Miami Heat tonight. We'll get your keys to victory here coming up in a bit. Week 9 couldn't have gone a lot worse for the 49ers, speaking of Fred Warner. So, coming out of week 9, the 49ers are still number 3 in the division.
Okay.
They are 1 game back in the loss column for the number 7 seed. The Packers are the 7 seed. It's 6-3. The 49ers are 4-4. The Cowboys fell to the Falcons 27-21. That's probably fine. The Cowboys dropped to 3-5. That allows the 49ers to gain at least a little bit of separation from some teams around them in that block of teams competing for wild card spots. But overall, not that impactful.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals beat the Bears 29-9.
Didn't expect that.
I think the Cardinals are good.
Maybe. I don't know. How is it that Connor is Like I was talking about this with my son. Like there was like a point where Connor was like shot as a running back.
Yeah, it felt
and
like
you're
it.
like, oh man, he's done. And then he just like continues to be extremely productive.
He reminds me style wise a little bit of like David Montgomery.
Okay.
Where it's just like he's just hard to tackle. He's just hard to get on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's a good pass catcher.
Yeah, he's a punishing back.
Yeah, so he had 973 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2018. Then in 2019, he played 10 games and goes for 4 touchdowns and 464 yards. 721 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2020. 752 and 15 touchdowns in 2021. 782 and 7, 1040 and 7, and this year 64 and 4. And that's just on the ground. That doesn't account for the 369, the 10 touchdowns he scored through the air in that stretch.
Yeah.
A really good player. And you pair him with Christian McCaffrey, and Trey McBride is an outstanding pass-catching tight end, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is having an up-and-down rookie year, but you can tell just super talented player. I think Jonathan Gannon is a really good coach on the defensive side. I think Arizona's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know if I'd bet on them to win the division. They're currently number 1 in the NFC West. They're the only NFC West team with 5 wins. But I don't think they're gonna. The NFC West is it's not going anywhere. Like
No.
it's not like one team is going to suddenly gain separation, whether it's the 49ers, the Cardinals, or otherwise.
Okay.
I think all year it's going to be, whatever team is 10-7 and has the right tiebreakers is going to win the division.
And the breaking news we were waiting for, it finally came through.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah.
Matt Barrows of The Athletic reporting that the 49ers are opening Christian McCaffrey's practice window today. Apparently, he had no setbacks last week when he pushed himself in rehab harder than he has the last 2 months. He's expected to take part in today's bonus practice. That's good news for the 49ers, man.
Yeah.
That's the best news that they possibly could have gotten.
We also have some more breaking news from Jordan Schultz.
Please.
The Broncos are trading outside linebacker Baron Browning to the Cardinals.
Sure.
So the NFC West gets a little bit better, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Adding pass rush help is always good. I'm expecting the 49ers to do that here at some point.
Maybe.
I hope so.
We just keep waiting.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are good, though. I don't think any team, even Seattle, who lost to the Rams, a 26-20 in a overtime game that you said it perfect. Neither team wanted to win that game.
Yeah, it did not feel that way at all.
I did not feel good about either team coming out of that one. But the Rams are, even Puka Nacua got ejected. He punched a guy.
Yeah, that was kind of I saw the punch, but it was like a little weak sauce. I don't know. I mean, look, I guess you got to call it. But I feel like Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that there's so many games that he plays in that doesn't feel like he wants to win, and then he does win. He might be like the king of that, where you're like, man, you really could not afford that pick right there. But look, someone bailed you out and you got the ball back, and you go down, they kick a field goal and they win a game. It feels like he's one of those quarterbacks that his win-loss record is probably better than if you watched every game and what your thought was coming out of the game about him. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like there are seasons where he's had like huge statistics, right? But didn't win games. And then there are other seasons where his statistics aren't that huge, but they win more games. And you like if you watch him every week, you're like, okay, he makes some weird mistakes. He does like have an incredible arm, and he's got a bunch of arm angles and stuff like that. But overall, there are more games that you feel like, I don't know that they should have won that game.
Yeah, but they do, because Stafford's just kind of a gangster.
They do. They that's what I'm saying. Like somehow he wins the game, and you're like, I didn't expect it when he made that bad turnover like 4 minutes ago. I thought that they were shot.
Yeah,
but he got another opportunity, and boom, he won the game, and that's it.
A couple of big passes, draws a pass interference.
Yeah,
everything's good. So the Seahawks are in last in the NFC West. They're 4-5. The 49ers at 4-4 are in third place. The Rams have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the 49ers, so they're 4-4 in second place. The Cardinals are 5-4. The Cardinals just made a trade to bolster their pass rush, but the 49ers are getting Christian McCaffrey back, and that's the best thing that I mean, we'll talk trade deadline, which is tomorrow at 1 p.m. And we'll talk about, they'll add, I'm sure they'll trade for defensive linemen at some point and all that. But getting Christian McCaffrey back is their single best path to winning the division. Because like we just talked about, it's not like any of these teams are going away. You're probably looking at a division where everybody is 8 to 10 wins, maybe 11, depending on if one of these teams gets really hot here. But there's never going to be a point where, oh man, that team's 3 games up with 6 to play. This thing's over.
Yeah.
Mainly because I think all 4 teams right now, and the 49ers have a chance to go beyond this, but all 4 teams right now fall into the category of pretty good, not terrible, could win or lose any game they play. No team is circling them on their schedule and saying that's an easy win, but no team is circling that game and going, can't win that one. That's going to be a tough, that's a loss.
Yeah.
They're just all going to be right there. But I think the 49ers' chances of potentially separating themselves and looking like, okay, they only have a 1-game lead, but they're clearly the best team in the division, is with Christian McCaffrey playing. Their biggest problem this year has been getting in the end zone. They're moving the ball well. They're scoring. There's just kicking a lot of field goals, and it's cost them a couple of games. I think this is something that Christian McCaffrey coming back, A, he helps your red zone offense just by virtue of being on the field. B, I think you're going to see Brock Purdy turn into more of a game manager.
Yep.
Where he is taking the shorter throws. They are relying more on yards after catch. I'm hoping after the bye week, we see something a little more creative offensively after some self-scouting from Kyle Shanahan and knowing that they're going to have Christian McCaffrey back. There's reasons for optimism here with McCaffrey on the field. It doesn't put San Francisco into the Super Bowl contender tier for me with those 3 teams we talked about at the beginning of the show. The Lions, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. But it puts them on a path to potentially get there that I don't think they were going to get on without McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wonder, will Shanahan just overuse him?
Yeah, and that's kind of the next layer of this.
I'm intrigued by it because I think he will. I think we'll be like, I did not expect McCaffrey to have 18 carries and 3 receptions in the first week back. Yeah, I just didn't expect that. And we should expect it.
Yeah, we felt like we did that a lot last year.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be the game. This is going to be the game where Elijah Mitchell, you get him like 10 carries. No, Elijah Mitchell's going to be on the field for 1 snap.
And they're up like 33-10. And you're like, why did he give him those extra 7 snaps?
Just insane. And that's where I think because of the injury and knowing what it looks like without him, there's no justification to me if you're Kyle Shanahan for using Christian McCaffrey at the rate that you used him last year. There's just not. Isaac Guerrero can contribute. Jordan Mason can play.
That's right.
There's no reason Christian McCaffrey should be getting 22 touches a game. There's just not.
Nope.
We'll dive more into this with Mad Props and with Jesse Tapia when he's in here in the next segment, because now we have to shift back. Let's shift gears back to the Sacramento Kings. We'll have more 49ers coming up for you. But the Kings have a big game tonight against the Miami Heat, a game that got a little bit bigger following their loss to the Toronto Raptors on Saturday. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. The Sacramento Kings in Miami tonight to take on the Heat. They've lost 5 games in a row in Miami.
5 games in a row in Miami and 3 in a row overall to Miami.
Man, be nice to get this one. Be a really nice night to snap that streak. Are we worried about the Miami flu?
You always have to be worried about it.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah.
I do remember De'Aaron Fox had his incredible game-winning dunk against Miami, when he was young.
That was a rookie year, right?
Yeah, rookie year, second year.
That was. I remember. I was on the radio the day after that game, and I said, if De'Aaron Fox develops into an all-star caliber player, that's the point I'm going to circle and be like, this is where he turned the corner.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
Just unbelievable play.
Yeah, yeah. Is
that the last time they beat them?
No, I think they've beat them once. Although it's possible they didn't go to Miami during the pandemic, so I'm not sure exactly when the last time it was they beat them. But
yikes.
I mean, it's been 5 years, so we can go backwards. It's like
19.
Yeah,
the earliest. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, wild.
All right, so avoiding the Miami flu is obviously number one. But let's get to some other keys to victory for you, James Ham. Key number 1 to a Sacramento Kings victory tonight in Miami.
Yeah, Miami is filled with a bunch of like well-known Kings like slayers. Like they've got Alec Burks, Terry Rozier, Josh Richardson, even Kevin Love had a huge game against the Kings not too long ago.
Sure.
And there are these players that, for whatever reason, look around the league, the Garrison Matthews of the world, that historically just, everything goes right against the Kings. They got to find a way to avoid one or two of those guys from just, putting up, again, like Alec Burks coming off the bench to give them 17 or something. You can't afford that in a game like this. And so somehow figure out a way to stop that type of guy from beating you.
The frustrating thing is was it Josh Richardson last year?
Yes.
Who lit him up for like 7 threes?
He just wouldn't miss in the mid range. Like he just turned into,
and it's always ridiculous shots.
Yes.
Just contested, fall away, heaves to the rafters that just happen to go in.
Yeah, he turned into
it's so annoying.
Prime Dwayne Wade out of nowhere. You're
just
like,
ridiculous.
What in the world is happening here?
Yeah, don't let the others go off for sure. Number 1 for me, this ties into that a little bit. Run them off the 3-point line, man. They don't have a ton of dynamic scorers. And if they want to live in the mid-range, I know that feeding offenses down into the paint is not necessarily the Kings' fort defensively, but Miami can shoot it a little bit, man. And the Kings have a hard time defending the 3. If they're going to beat you with 80 points in the paint, then so be it. Don't let them beat you from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I agree. The Kings have quietly done much, much better at defending the 3. I think they're right in the middle of the pack right now.
Pack. Yep.
Right around 18th, right? They're giving up 36.6% from 30, something like that. I wrote about it yesterday in Kings Beat. So I can't remember exactly what the number is, but either way, they're showing signs of getting better. And overall, this team is showing signs of being better defensively, so it's a good key.
Moving in the right direction for sure. Number 2.
While the Kings are doing better defending the 3, they're doing worse at shooting the 3.
Yeah, man.
And this has become a problem. They're 32.5% as a team, something like that. They need to pick it up. This is a team that should be much better than that. It doesn't help when you have like an 0 for 11 or from De'Aaron Fox, or an 11 of 40 or 10 for 40 from the team overall. The small sample size is going to swing the percentages huge one way or another early in the season.
Yep.
But this team should be a better 3-point shooting team. They need to get that the spray 3 and the ball movement 3 that we saw in Atlanta. There were some moments in that Atlanta game where the ball moved from one side to the next so smoothly for wide open looks, and guys were just drilling wide open 3s. So get back to that.
Yeah, so Domas shooting 50% on 2 attempts a game. Kevin Huerter, 37.5% on 6.4. I'm going to skip Doug McDermott because he only played 28 minutes all year. You got Keon Ellis shooting 36.4%, which is great. You'll take 36% from Keon all day. But then Malik, 34%. DeRozan, 33%. Keegan, 30.8%. De'Aaron, 26.8%. Trey Lyles, 23.8%. Lyles, Fox, and Murray are all players I expect at some point to get up. Even if there's quote unquote regression from Fox, even if he finishes the year at 34%, that means at some point he's going to have to climb up from 30.8, or excuse me, 26.8.
Yeah.
So I do expect him to start shooting it better for sure. It'd be great if it started tonight in Miami. Number 2 for me, don't let go of the rope. Miami is a team that's going to fight. They're going to scratch. They're going to claw. They're going to hang around. If you're up double digits and they get a couple of stops and a couple of buckets, don't let the avalanche roll. That's just how this game is going to go.
Yeah.
The chances that you're going to go win by 30 are not super high. It's not an easy thing to do against Miami in Miami. So just, it's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a hard fought night. Lock in.
Yeah, I mean, this is a gritty team. That's what we talk about, the Heat culture.
Yep.
It's a grit. It's Jaime Jaquez isn't going to let you go in for a wide open layup. He's going to foul you. And Bam Adebayo is one of the best defensive centers in the game. And Jimmy Butler can still play defense. This is a physical, strong team. That's what they're going to try to do tonight. They're going to try to push you around. And if you can take advantage of that, move the ball quicker, be quicker with off ball screens, like move, you should be just fine.
Yep. Number 3 for you.
Number 3, push the pace.
Yeah.
Like the Kings have, they've allowed teams to dictate the pace in a couple of games, but they're all of a sudden starting to figure it out. They're averaging like 102 points per 102 possessions per 100. Like their pace is climbing up. The Heat are super slow. They're 29th in the league in pace. Just try to run them off the court for a few minutes and see what happens, because I think you can do it.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Like if it's Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier and Jaime Jaquez and Kevin Love out there running, it's just there's no like dynamic number 1 playmaker to me here. And that's why, yeah, get out and run. If they wanna do that, then fine. Number 3 for me, I want to see Domas get some shots up, man. I think he took 10 last game. I know he had the triple-double, he had the 20 rebounds, and that's all good.
Yeah.
You can't not have Domas being aggressive just because it's Bam Adebayo hanging out in the paint. I want to see him go at Bam Adebayo, maybe get him in some foul trouble. Just make him work on the defensive end, because they're going to run some offense through him. And I think you have to make him work defensively. Like you said, he's one of the best defensive bigs in the game, but that can't mean pull him out away from the basket. I don't want to see Domas get into a matchup against a really good big and have that mean he's not gonna put shots up. They're better when he's being aggressive, getting downhill.
I totally agree. I mean, we're seeing he's all the way down to 21.5 points per game. He does lead the league in rebounding all of a sudden again after the big 20 rebound game. But this is a game where Sabonis and Bam Adebayo, they typically both get in foul trouble. Like they play each other very physical. They're like, battering ram, battling in the post, and you got to stay on the floor. So whatever it is, they got to figure it out. Sabonis right now is averaging 4.2 personal fouls per game. And that's not great.
Don't love that.
No, I don't love that. So I want to see Sabonis stay on the floor. And, I want to see 12, 13 shots. Like, go for it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Predictions. What do we got?
I think Kings 111, Heat 103. I think it'll be reasonably close,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're going to start figuring out how to win games already.
I'm in the same kind of range. I've also got an 8-point win. I've got 106-98, though.
Okay.
I would love to see whether the Kings offense is cooking tonight or not. I care less about that. And I would like to see them go put up a really, really strong defensive performance. Like you said, figuring out how to win games. There's a chance this could get down in the mud, turn into a little bit of a rock fight.
Yeah.
I want to see them be able to go out and win that game, B, do so with really scrappy defense, but then C, like this is the kind of spot where, man, having DeMar DeRozan could be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Where go get to the free throw line when things get just a little muddy, maybe the Heat are on a 10-0 run. This is where getting to the free throw line, stopping the game, slowing things down can be really, really helpful. So I want to see that today.
Yeah. And, the Kings right now, they're third in the league in steals at 10.2 per game. They're also third in the league in deflections.
Mm-hmm.
And their deflections are crazy, like 18.3 deflections per game.
Good Lord.
And so only the Warriors and the Thunder are higher than the Kings on the deflection list.
Mm-hmm.
They are active. They're doing a really good job of playing help defense, and they're moving really well together. So I think they'll be okay here.
I hope so. It'd be really, really nice to get this win in Miami. You go 3-1 on the road trip. You come home. You get Toronto after you come home. That's on Wednesday. And then, I closed out. See, this is why
I think it's
closed out the Kings schedule.
Suns
That's
followed by Spurs.
It's Clippers, then they're at the Suns and at the Spurs. So again, a few winnable games. You string some wins together and you put that Toronto game behind you. You can start tonight with a win in Miami. All right. We got more coming up. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. The Kings and the Miami Heat tip off 5:15. Be a big one for the Kings to win. We'll talk more about it here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're clear.
Clear.
Moron.
Well, at least part of that we weren't on the air because you muted the mics for a sec.
Oh no, but after the read, that was all. We
Okay.
did the read and then everything up until I went, oops.
Oh, got it. Hey, big thoughts out to Greg Popovich, who had some sort of medical situation on Saturday, and truly one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach in NBA history. Oh, look at that. CeeDee Lamb is expected to play. He has a chance to play. He has an AC joint sprain. Yeah, we'll know more about Popovich in the coming days, but like as someone who has dealt with him behind the scenes and been lit up by him just like everyone else has, he makes you better at your job because you don't ask Greg Popovich a stupid question. And if you do, he makes sure that you know that it was a stupid question.
Bobber.
I thought the Republic are in the playoffs, right? Ah, 13, 10, and 11 on the season. Oh, I didn't know they got knocked out over the weekend. I had a Kings game.
Huh?
And then another one. I didn't know the Republic got knocked out this weekend.
Jesus. Juju Watkins today, sophomore, against number 20 Ole Miss. 27 points, 10 boards, 4 assists, 5 blocks, 3 steals. What's up, Jesse?
Lots happening. What's going on, man? Look at you sporting your Dolphins gear still. Good for you.
Hard fought battle yesterday, man. Yeah, I'm never forgetting that ever again. Well, and I forgot today. Like literally during a break, we're just shooting the shit, and I was like, oops. Fingers crossed.
You'll figure it out. What's up, Chatty House?
Oh, Juwan Jennings back for the 49ers as well.
Oh, nice. And Feliciano. They opened his window as well.
I traded Juwan Jennings in fantasy today.
I'm a thumbs down on John Feliciano.
Yeah.
What's up,
I'm turning your mic off. We're back.
Now I have to look.
There we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, James Ham, Kyle Madsen, and Jesse Tapia in the building. What's up, dog?
Not much. It's Monday. Feeling pretty good, even though it's Monday. Vibes are up, I think.
Is it because the Dolphins put forth such a valiant effort in Buffalo?
No, honestly, that broke my heart yesterday.
Really?
That was tough. Because, like, that was probably the best they played all season and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like if they weren't 2-6, it'd be like, oh, yeah, you can build off of that. But it's like, you played well, but you're 2-6. It's like,
yeah.
Season probably over.
It shouldn't count. If you lose your starting quarterback, the game shouldn't count.
That's fair. Then
That's
you know
my
what?
take.
Yeah, you owe me a lot of games in NFL. A lot. I mean, Tyler Bass hit a 61-yarder right down the middle.
It's like with room, dog.
Yeah. And they're doing a moment after the game where he's on the verge of tears. It's like, this guy who's just had the yips, of course, is going to hit the 61-yarder.
Naturally.
Whatever, bro.
That would have been good from 70.
I will see you next Monday when we play the Browns.
Vibe still up?
They're always going to be up. What else am I going to do? What else am I going to do? Quit?
That's right.
Yes.
No.
Jesse's not a quitter.
No, I'll be back next Monday.
You know what I can't do? I cannot root against my favorite team.
Yeah,
you could tell me, like James, we were talking about the Raiders earlier.
Yeah.
And how the Raiders should be Tank City. Like go 2-15.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the goal. But if I was Raider fan, I know in my brain that is better for the team. Losing this year, finishing 5-12 is no different than finishing 2-15. And I know that in my brain, but I'm going to go in every Sunday wanting them to win.
Well, yeah, it's just because we're fans. And honestly, like, if the team is picking 12th, then all right, GM, get the right pick.
Right.
Do your job.
Right. Like, you can't. So the 2016 season, the Niners won 2 games. They beat the Rams twice.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick went down into the Coliseum in LA and beat the Rams. The Niners finished 2-14. That win knocked them out of the number 1 pick that would have been Myles Garrett. And I knew going into that game that was the case. And I was still like, yes, go win this one.
Yeah.
And then they drafted Solomon Thomas.
And you know what? That's not your fault, Kyle. That's whoever the GM at the time was. That's his fault. Probably don't draft Solomon Thomas.
Could have Myles Garrett.
You could have had someone else. Who else was drafted after that?
Mitch Trubisky.
Oh.
All right. You know, pull up the draft. I'm sure there was another good player in that first round.
Let's get to mad props here. It was a tough week for me and James, a very good week for Jesse. Let's get into it. Here we go.
It's time for Mad Props. 2 games, 2 props. Which number will be higher? That's for Kyle and James to decide. Here's Mad Props.
Yeah, we went with the Raider game this week and the Kings-Hawks matchup. Prop number 1. Again, it's a prop from each game. We match them up. We pick which number is going to be the greater of those 2 numbers. Gardner Minshew passing yards or Kings-Hawks total points. I went Gardner Minshew passing yards. It didn't work out.
Oh, no.
Didn't work out great for me. He got pulled out of the game.
Tough.
He did it for the bit.
I thought my guy would pull through. The Raiders as a team only had 198 passing yards.
Yeah, I guess this is the Desmond Ritter show from now on.
Yeah, 259 total points for the Hawks and Kings. That was is that right?
Yeah.
259? Is that the right number?
131 to 128. So 250.
No, that was the Raptors game.
Oh, no, you're right.
238.
Okay.
Was the total there. I might have had the wrong game when I was calculating all these.
Oh no.
Wait a minute.
Oh boy.
Oh, this
is an unprecedented mistake. Okay, we're doing this on the fly. I know I have the Raiders game right. Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this.
You got Kings Hawks from 2017 or something?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. No, I grabbed the Raptors game. Okay, so here we go. We have Brock Bowers catches. All right, we're so back. We've never been more back. We have Brock Bowers catches, which was 5, or Keegan Murray made field goals, which was 6.
Oh.
Jesse gets the W there. He had Keegan Murray. James and I both had Brock Bowers. So everything lines up so far. Everything is good so far. We're all good. The next one, we had Max Crosby pressures or Kevin Huerter 3-point attempts.
Oh, 8.
8 3-point attempts for
Kevin
Huerter.
Yep.
We all took Kevin Huerter.
Hey, let's go. Good teamwork.
Max Crosby, 8 pressures.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
We have a tie. We have a draw. Bang on the number. Congratulations to me. That means I nailed it. I'm really proud of myself. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, hold your applause. Hold your applause till the end. I didn't even get the bit right to begin with. All right. Number 4. We had Trey Tucker receiving yards or Malik Monk points, rebounds, and assists. We all went Trey Tucker. Malik Monk finished Friday night's game with 9 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. That's 19 points, rebounds, and assists. You'd feel pretty good about that if you pick Trey Tucker, right?
Yeah.
5 receiving yards. 5.
You said it was either 90 or it's 15 yards.
That's so frustrating, bro.
Super.
We're not even asking you to just annoying. 2 catches for 20 yards. That's it.
Can I get?
That's it. Just do something.
Can I get a screen for 20?
5 yards, really?
Anything? Yeah. His final stat line, Trey Tucker, 6 targets. He caught 2 passes. He had 5 receiving yards, and his longest reception was 6 yards.
So he got 1 for -1.
It's a bad beat for us.
All right, bro.
It's a bad beat.
That is a bad beat.
Daniel Carlson, longest field goal, or Domantas Sabonis, points, rebounds, and assists. It was 35. This is annoying because I would have won this one if I had picked the other game. 35 points, rebounds, and assists for Domas. 46 was Daniel Carlson's longest field goal. You guys both picked Daniel Carlson. I picked Domas. So that is I've got to flip these. That's a loss for me and a win for you guys. That's fine. It was 46-47 if we had done the other game.
Oh, tough loss.
It's a bad beat. It's a really bad beat.
46-47 if we did the game that didn't count.
Shade.
And then we've got Raiders total points or DeMar DeRozan total points. DeMar had 27 points. The Las Vegas Raiders finished with 24. I went with the Raiders. You guys both went with DeMar. That's a good choice. Wins for you guys, losses for me, and finishes up an 0 for week for me.
There we go. Oh,
that's tough. This is what happens when you do stuff for the sake of the bit.
That's what I've been telling you, bro. You need to start picking up dubs. Are you tanking for next year?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I might be. I did actually get a victory, though, because we were factoring in the Chiefs or Celtics losing first. You and I had the Celtics. James took the Chiefs. So I'm going to have to recalculate it. I don't have our standings right here, but I was 0 for this week. James, you went 3-2-1, but 3-3-1 with the additional pick. Jesse, you went 4-1-1, but 5-1-1 with the additional pick.
There we go. I like that.
I'll do the math later.
All right.
That's annoying.
I disagree.
I'm so salty.
Yeah, me and James.
I'm going to stop doing things for the sake of the bit, guys.
Having a good time.
Then I'm done.
Oh, James, you get a win. Jess, you get a win. And then there's Kyle.
So today, Jesse, you missed it. I was bragging about how good I am at this because we had to record this segment and I did not start timing it on the clock. And so I just had to look at the recording and kind of guess. And I nailed it. Just guessed like perfect. I was like, yes, nailed it. I'm so good at this. And then I had the mishap with the board. And then I had this where I'm recording the wrong game notes.
I'll always humble you at some point.
Every time.
Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this. And sometimes you realize 2 minutes in, yeah, the board's not hot, dumbass.
Every time.
Sometimes Tyler Bass hits a 61-yarder.
Yeah, sometimes,
right,
James.
Sometimes. That felt like a shot.
All the time, actually, James. All the time they do that.
What was your reaction to, not that incredible shot that James just took, but what was your reaction to the Kings' loss on Saturday?
It was frustrating, to be honest.
Why?
Because it's like, I was almost waiting for them to kind of take over. And it's like, all right, they're here, whatever. And it's like Fox at some point, like, get it done. It's like he gets locked up by Cooper Flagg, and it's a turnover at the end of the fourth quarter.
Cooper Flagg.
Or not Cooper Flagg. Grady redacted.
Dick.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, Grady Dick or whatever. So he gets locked up by So you look at, you're already laughing and stuff like that. Look at James. Can't even look at
because of the way you set it up. It's not Grady Dick or whatever. It's Grady Dick.
you just it's his name, dude.
Well, whatever. Yeah.
Grady Richard.
No, it was frustrating because I think they could have won it. Like for as tough as it was, you could have won that game still.
Yeah.
I think DeMar just needed a little bit more help.
I think that's articulating what I was trying to get at earlier.
DeMar needed a little more help, but then DeMar hoisted that shot, that like the 3-pointer with like 8 seconds left or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
that was tough, man. Like there's been a couple of games this season already where it's like, okay, I get it, but 27 shots, that's what he took in that game. And like they needed to find other people. And he was really good, and he was hitting all of his mid-range jumpers with guys draped all over him. But the big shot it was almost like the shot went up and the entire team was like, wait, he just shot it? Like, what just happened? They were trying to set up the offense and get a good shot, and then boom, it was gone. And you were like, oh no, what just happened?
Yeah.
So,
Oof.
yeah.
I mean, this is what it is, but it's a little frustrating, I think, because like I said, you could have had it at the end.
Yeah. Like, I understand all the travel, but
Win the game.
go beat the Raptors with no Scotty Barnes, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I land. You got to go win tonight now, though. A 2-2 road trip would feel really disappointing.
Yeah, I mean,
you went to Utah, Atlanta, Toronto, and Miami.
It's frustrating because Miami is probably the one. If you were going to drop one, it'd be like this one, I think.
Yeah,
where you can acknowledge where, yeah, all right, this one, fine, whatever. But
and if you were going to circle one, you're going to win for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Raptors.
Yep.
But that's before you looked
at
any of the
no
other
Scotty Barnes
stuff.
either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, they're so unserious.
Yeah, dude.
Kenny said it.
He did. Yeah, got to go win tonight.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Ultimately, though, like
I think they're going to lock in, though. Like that's one thing I feel about this particular team is I think they've had 2 years of, well, 1 year they were obviously in the playoffs, and then last year they make the play in and lose there. I think this is a team that now the core has an understanding of like what it takes to go win a game like this. And Miami does too. Like don't get me wrong. But I think we're going to see a more like focused, dialed in version of the Kings tonight because of that.
When do we form like a general opinion about this team?
Christmas.
Call
me Christmas.
It's gonna be a little while. Like,
what did you say, about 8 weeks?
Yeah, I agree. Your Christmas prediction is probably right, but I mean, like when we watch some of the ball movement against the Atlanta Hawks, it was like, oh man, this team can be so good. Like it just hopped from one person to the next and next and next, and like it was dizzying. Like everyone had a good shot, and they all looked for a better one, and they got it again and again, and that's why Fox went 4 of 6 in that game. Then they get away from who they are, and they force things, and they don't rely on the system. They rely on individuals, and the individuals can let you down. The system doesn't seem like it's going to, as long as you rely on it. And
I think there's room for that in close games where, man, this is getting out of hand. We need a bucket. DeMar, De'Aaron, Malik, Domas, Keegan, whoever, just clear it out and go score. Go get to the free throw line.
Do we feel any sort of way that the Kings have lost 3 close games so far?
No.
3 wins and blowouts, but the close games they've been and they've lost each one?
It's too early.
Too early?
Yeah, they're still trying to figure out who's taking the shot and all that stuff, in my opinion. Like, I think they're still trying to – they got a bunch of guys that know they can take the shot, but each individual game has its own personality, and you need to find the guy that's the right person to take that shot. And I know, again, DeMar DeRozan was incredible to keep them in that game and to get them to overtime and everything else. But that doesn't mean that you just keep going and you just keep shooting the ball every single time you touch it.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a reliance on the system a little bit. And I don't want to see another game where Domantas Sabonis scores a triple-double with 17 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists, but he takes 10 shots. I mean, that's not okay. I mean, he's too good of a player to only take 10 shots. And again, like, not to bash on DeMar DeRozan, but 27 shots to score 33 points.
Yeah.
That's not.
This isn't Chicago, man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they don't need that from DeMar DeRozan.
No.
There are stretches where they're going to need him to put the ball on the floor and go get a basket, but 33 points on 27 shots is crazy with this much talent around him. I was going to ask you, James and I agree on this. There are 3 teams that can win the Super Bowl right now.
Okay.
Detroit?
Yes.
Kansas City?
Yes.
Baltimore?
Yes.
That's the end of my list.
Buffalo.
You got Buffalo there.
Buffalo's good, dude.
Buffalo's
really good. Like they're hitting their stride right now, I feel like.
Okay.
Josh Allen's playing good football. James Cook running the ball well. Keon Coleman's starting to play good football, starting to kind of come into it a bit. I think the defense is better than what we thought they'd be, given the pieces that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffalo can. They're probably fourth on that list, and maybe they're hanging around at the door, but I think they're in there.
I think they're the top of the next tier for me. They might even be in a tier by themselves.
Fair. Like that's fair because I could probably be like it's an argument for Buffalo, but like the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, I think like that's definitive right there.
Yeah, and maybe they're in a tier by themselves because I feel like I like Buffalo more than I like San Francisco, more than I like Green Bay, more than I like Minnesota. I took Minnesota out of that tier yesterday.
Minnesota's kind of scaring me, guys.
I don't feel good about them at all.
Yeah,
they're teetering.
Sam Darnold had an interception in the end zone where he's looking for Hawkinson. It's like, brother, how was that supposed to get there?
If the first guy didn't get it, the second guy
exactly. And it's like he's playing well. Like I said, he's not bad. He's playing well, whatever. But like I said, there's some things.
He's making mistakes that swing playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of what I'm in it. I can't stand the argument of like, do you see him going on the road and winning a playoff game? Like it's more, there's so much more to it. I didn't think Joe Flacco was going to beat the 2012 49ers, and here we are. Like it's a team game, but it's the one thing like, okay, is Sam Darnold going to go on the road against who? Green Bay, Detroit, Philly,
San Francisco.
I wouldn't feel great about it.
Yeah.
Who's the team knocking on the door in the NFC? Like who's second in line there?
Probably Green Bay.
I think it's the Eagles.
Ooh, the Eagles are good too. Yeah, the Eagles. My one hang up with the Eagles, that's a really good call. My one hang up with the Eagles, I feel like they're a house of cards. Like they've righted this ship for now, but if they have one bad loss, it feels like everything could come crashing down. We saw like they were 10-1 last year.
But that 10-1 was a lot uglier than this 6-2 looks right now.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Because I feel like we were all waiting for the Eagles to just fall down at some point last season. This year they kind of started off slow, and now they're starting to pick it up. I feel
so they beat Green Bay by 5. Good win, really good win down there in Brazil. They lose to the Falcons. They beat the Saints by 3. They get smoked by Tampa Bay. 33-16, the final there. Then they get their bye week. Out of their bye week, they beat the Browns by 4 at home. They kick the heck out of the Giants, 28-3. Saquon has a huge day. They beat the heck out of the Bengals, 37-17. That's a really, really high quality win for them. And then they beat the Jags yesterday, 28-23. Although the Jags had that weird stretch where they scored 16 points in a minute.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni did some weird things yesterday that kind of kept the Jags in it. Where you could turn it into a 3-score game, but no, he's gonna do something where he keeps it a 2-score game and all that.
Yeah, dude. That's my hang up is Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I think
whatever
they do this season in spite of their coach, I think.
Yes. And that's where I think if they have one bad loss here down the stretch, it could all just kind of come apart because they don't have a coach who can hold it together.
Okay.
But the Eagles are right there. For today, as we sit here on November 4th, I think the Eagles are right there in the NFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just look at Saquon Barkley as being such a difference maker at this point.
Yeah, he's turning it up for them.
I mean, he's at 925 yards in 8 games. He's broke 100 yards 5 times, and he's got another 95 and 84-yard game in there. He's just been incredible. And so for me, I'm looking at him as like a huge, huge difference maker. Now, they got to keep him healthy.
Yeah.
But like watching him run, that run he had yesterday was just so incredible.
He did like 3 things on that play that might have been the most athletic things I've ever seen.
I'm still trying to figure out the backwards hurdle, to be honest. I don't get just being in the moment. It's like, all right, defender's coming at me. Let me just jump backwards and jump over him just to be in the moment and know like this is what I need to do.
Coming off of a spin move.
Exactly.
Like a sick ass spin move.
Like that was video game stuff right there.
And then to plant his feet and have enough strength to
leap over
perfectly. A person.
It works perfectly. It's like, no, this is what I needed to do. Not run him over, not juke him. No, I need to jump backwards over this 300-pound man or whatever.
Yeah. It was the kind of play that like the Madden replay goes viral because like, wow, look how unrealistic this is. But he did it as a human person.
If I try to hurdle in Madden, he's going to clip my legs and I'm going to fumble.
1,000%. Hurdling the normal way.
Yes, exactly.
Much less backwards. I think there's just... Go ahead.
Here's a crazy stat. Last season for the Giants, he had 962 yards rushing in 14 games. He's at 925 in 8 games. 6 games behind his last year. That's just wild.
Shout out to the Giants. So I saw a stat yesterday. At one point in the game, they had 15 rushes and only 1 pass. So that's how that's going over there.
Daniel Jones did score a touchdown at MetLife or whatever.
Yeah.
They told Brian Dable, brother, you're here next year. And he's like, cool. Daniel, you're not throwing any more passes the rest of the year. We're going to see what else works.
Bet.
Like I sent you why do you go for it? Why do you go for a 2-point
That was
conversion?
so stupid. I was watching that live. I was watching the game like as it was happening. It's like, what are you doing? You're taking now you need to get the next 2-point conversion now.
Now you have
Yes,
to.
you have to. And you already failed this one.
It's one thing if you tie the game or you're 1 point down, you're like, I'm going to go for the win.
Yeah.
But to force yourself to have to make a 2-point conversion late in the game, like I don't care what your chart says, your chart is wrong.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, there's no justifying that.
Well, that
I don't
you're
hate
the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not the Eagles. You're the Giants, and like your chart is skewed. Is not skewed for Giantsdom.
We don't probably have enough time to discuss it. I don't hate the decision there.
I thought it was dumb.
No, because you go for 2 there, and now you know if you score a touchdown, you know whether you need a 2 or a 1. Or if they kick a field goal, you know you're going to be down. 2 scores anyways.
Yeah.
So you know what you're playing for at that point. Because if you kick the extra point, it's 24-17. So you're playing for overtime? That's stupid.
Well, no, because you can decide then.
Okay, no, right. You can go for 2, in which case you're going to lose anyway if you don't get it. So at some point, if you want, like,
I hear your logic. I'm still out.
I
didn't think it was I get it, but I didn't think it was the right call.
Again, I think if you're the Chiefs, okay.
You have nothing to play for, dog.
If you're the Eagles, like, okay. But you're the Giants. You can't.
You get every point you can while you can.
Nah, I rock with it.
All right. Hey,
there we
Brian
go.
Daboll's buddy over here.
There he goes.
He looks like my older brother, so
it's fair.
Come on.
Brian Daboll's brother over here.
How much time? 1, 2, 2.5 doing math, 2:45. We should probably get going. What do you guys got coming up on D-Lo and Casey?
James is going to be on the show today. We're going to be talking Kings, of course, NFL. Just pretty much NFL Kings and James Ham.
Can't wait.
There we go.
That's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're the Insiders. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, drink water and be nice, people. Bye.